Rob Caouette. I'm a sector advisor at EDC on the ICT team, focusing in new media and more specifically gaming right now. EDC is a Crown corporation. We've been around since 1944, providing financial services to Canadian exporters and foreign buyers, and basically trying to foster and grow export trade from Canada. Well, I guess about a year ago, EDC took a decision to start moving into different sectors and looking at growth sectors within Canada. We've aligned ourselves with our industry partners such as DFATE and Industry Canada and the associations and provinces in recognizing that new media is a real growth area for Canada, has a lot of potential, and is an area that we certainly historically haven't really focused on the true needs of Canadian companies in this space. So what we've done over the last year is really looked at getting a better understanding of the new media space and really do a deep dive in gaming because of the fact that Canada is third in the world in game development, and so it's such an identifiable cluster for Canada and a real strength for Canada. So we've started to really understand the needs of Canadian companies that are exporting abroad and how we can start to add value to their business financially anyhow in supporting what they do. So working with their banks and working with them and trying to help them financially retain their IP and deal with some of the issues that are in the industry right now that that we feel we can add value through our expertise and our services that we do have right now. Well, our strategy in gaming, we've got, I guess, three sides of it. The first one is really working with Canadian exporters, whether it's a developer, a middleware company, or even a hardware company that's in this space, is working with them and their banks and trying to increase their liquidity and working capital so that they can take on new projects, they can work on their own IP and develop their own products without just doing the work for hire where they don't retain the IP and the future revenues that may be the potential in the future. So what we do, we've got a guarantee program where we work with Canadian banks and provide them with a guarantee allowing them to provide whether it's a line of credit or a financial facility to a Canadian company, and giving them the liquidity and working capital they need to take on those projects. The second part of what we do is really working with the foreign buyers, in this case the major publishers, and providing them with the additional capacity to take on new projects and specifically with Canadian companies. So, financing them directly, either through bilateral agreements or through syndications, and even real project-specific transactions where it gives them the ability to really not use their own cash reserves, and it's another source of funds for the foreign buyers. So it again starts to encourage and grow Canadian exports. And finally, with what we've done in our research over the last year, we've developed the game value chain, which we are using and we've populated with all the Canadian capabilities in this space. So we've got about 350 companies populated on that game value chain, and we use that for specific matchmaking with foreign publishers. So we go to them and try and include new Canadian companies into their supply chain and really start to grow their Canadian supply chain rather than have them deal with the same companies over and over again. And it's really introducing new companies to their space. Well, the best thing is to have a discussion with me as early on as possible. I'm available by email or by phone. My email address is rcaouette@edc.ca. My phone number is 613-598-2581. It's generally to have that discussion early on so that at least we can, create the understanding of what EDC is doing in the space, because, the biggest thing that I've seen and in my discussions with Canadian companies, whether they're developers or whatever it may be, no one knows about EDC. We're Canada's best kept secret. And the fact is, once companies understand how we can help them financially in working with the banks and really working with them to try and improve their financial position, then all of a sudden the light goes off and they realize, oh yeah, there is a lot of value in what we can get through EDC. So it's really to have that discussion early on, whether you have a signed contract with a big publisher or not. Because a lot of what we do is before you sign that contract, but there's the other side where it's after you've got that contract, and we can really help out once you're started and once you really start to see those cash flows start to tighten up and that sort of thing. GDC's been great. We were at Jillian's last night. That was a lot of fun. And for any Canadian companies that missed it, don't miss it next year. It's always a great party. But no, GDC is proving to be the right place to be for us in meeting Canadian companies as well as meeting the major publishers. Because really what it is for us is we're here for two things, right? Meet Canadian companies and understand what they're doing and where their pain points are, and maybe there's things that we haven't looked into and where we can help out beyond what we're doing right now. But it's also meeting the major publishers and starting those relationships and helping them understand how we can possibly look at some sort of financial funding for them to start buying from Canada. So this is one-stop shopping for us.